Okay, so let's talk GPT-4-0 Mini. So this is just my first impression about the tool right now. So I'm actually working on a software project. I'm currently rebuilding my 200,000 lines of code application. And if this is the first time you're looking at this video, you might want to go back and look at some of my other videos around my process of rebuilding a 200,000 lines of code application. Anyway, in this video, it's just my initial thoughts on GPT-4-0 Mini as I'm trying to program. One of the problems that I'm running into consistently, one is I'm hitting the limit of GPT in itself, and that they keep capping me, and so I have to either wait for 25 minutes or they keep downgrading me to a different model, etc. Now, one of the things that they suggested is that GPT-4-0 Mini is much more efficient and it's better. So this is my real world attempt at trying to see how fast, because the problem also that I'm having is that, I wouldn't say it's a problem, let's be clear, but GPT-4-0 is faster, but not as fast as GPT 3.5. So in this video, GPT-4-0 Mini apparently is supposed to be much faster. The problem is that it seems to have a memory problem, and I'll explain what I mean in a bit. And by the way, you don't have to understand what I'm actually doing. I just want you to understand the concepts and the principles so you can understand the limitations that I'm hitting into right now. But this is just my first take on it. So I'm going to give it a command, which basically says I'm going to paste a bunch of entities, classes, right? For each of class, I would like you to generate fake data based on the sample below and write an implementation that will call it. So basically, I'm giving it a series of instructions. I'm giving it some sample data. That's the goal. I'm going to give you some sample data. And then what I'd like you to do is use that sample data to then, I'm going to give you additional information, and then I'd like you to generate data on top of it. I'll show you what happens when you use ChatGPT 4.0 Mini. They need to figure out their naming convention, because it's gotten a little crazy with these names. Keep adding letters. So I did that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the implementation sample below. Okay, so this is my implementation sample. It doesn't really matter what the code does. I'm just basically using it to generate some fake data to test my application that I've been rebuilding. So again, go check my other videos around how I'm rebuilding my application that has over 200,000 lines of code using ChatGPT. So, and then the second part is I want to also, I'm copying some additional code to give it a sample of how I would like it to actually copy the how would I actually like it to generate the sample data, just because I came up with a specific format. Again, it doesn't really matter what the code does, it just matters the principle here. Okay, at the end I tell it respond with understood. All right, no comma. Respond with understood, and I will start sending you classes to generate. Okay, so I do that, fairly long prompt, understood. So it does that correctly. However, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go pull up some real code now. I'm going to go try to copy this entire thing. So this is now a real set of code that I'd like it to actually do an implementation of. Now I'm going to paste this, and what it's supposed to do is supposed to actually take this and then use it to reverse engineer to generate fake data. Right, and let's show you what happens. So here, that's what happens. So what it's basically doing is that it says that it understands the instructions, but then what I do is when I paste the information in, it basically just starts over. It's almost like it just forgot what I told it, and it's just starting to generate new information, which is basically just giving me more details about this class, which I don't really care for, because it's just giving me a bunch of garbage. Gets her set project date. Yes, it's project date. Gets her sets the start date. Yes, I could see that, right? So it's just giving me a bunch of garbage, really. If you look here, it says here that for faster everyday task, it's definitely not for this type of stuff. So just to give you some real world comparison of what if you using GPT-4.0 will do, just so that at least we have some context. I'm just going to copy the whole piece because I copied and pasted this entire prompt out, and we're going to just do a new chat window, GPT-4.0. I'm going to paste that entire thing, exactly the same prompt, Okay, so I'm going to give you a bunch of entities that I'd like you to think, blah, 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 and then scroll all the way down to the bottom, respond with understood, submit. Okay, so understood, please go ahead. Right, now I'm going to come back over here and copy the same fake data the application and then paste, and here. So a little more top, but let's try it, right? So what it's doing now is it remembers the context, and now it's actually using that based on the information, I think, to start generating the context. So that's a really, really big difference between the two models. So sure, it might be cheaper, but I think if you're doing these really long sort of context window where you're trying to pump a lot of information into these models, or at least in this particular case GPT-4 Mini, and you're expecting it to kind of remember the history to do something else with that information from the past, that's where it seems to break down. And so as a result, it's just not doing the right thing. So GPT-4-0 is where I'm going to stick with for now, but just for the sake of completion and experiment, let's just try, when this finishes, we're going to try GPT 3.5 just to see how it compares with the exact same prompt, just pushing it and forcing it to generate as much code as possible, because that's our goal here. It's like we want to maximize things. So and again, just so you know what I'm doing here is basically what I'm doing is I'm just generating fake data so I could input that into my database for my application, so I could test the application to make sure and find any breaking issues on the front end. So for each one of the tables, or each one of the classes in this case, I'm pumping in about 100 records, just enough data that it could give me sort of a real world use case on the issues that might arise. You know what, I shouldn't have continued that. I'll stop it. So anyway, so this is going to continue for a bit. I don't want to kind of belabor this video. I'm going to pause it for a bit. Okay, so that finished, and it did exactly what I'm asking it for, right? So I wanted an implementation of this fake data, so it did that. It ran this fake module, and then what it did is it basically said it's going to generate 100 records, it's going to create a count, and it's going to do project ID count, blah blah blah, and it's going to send that into the database, and so I can generate some data on top of that. So that's basically what I'm going to do. Now what I'll do is I'm just going to keep pasting in models, and then it should just work perfectly fine. Again, just for the sake of pure experiments. They've removed, oh, that's interesting, I didn't realize that they've removed GPT-4-0, sorry, 3.5. Didn't realize that before. So yeah, okay, I guess that's the end of this video. Yeah, just remove it. By the way, if you wanted to switch model, I just found out about this little thingy here. If you click on that and you click on GPT-4 as an example, it'll take your exact same prompt and throw it into the other window, and then now it's going to generate the same code just using GPT-4, which is obviously much slower. So you see this slowness there, right? Slightly slower prompt, but just as a heads up. So anyway, with that, if you got some value out of this video, please like and subscribe. Go back and watch some of my other videos on how I basically transform my 200,000 lines of code application, completely rewriting it from scratch with ChatGPT in about 30 days time frame. I'm still working on it. There's still more work to be done, but the core of the application is being completely transformed. So these AI tools are just game changers in terms of just adding to the efficiency, speed of a developer. I think if you're a developer and you're not using these tools, or you're a new developer or you want to learn coding, you absolutely should be in here every single minute of every single day. So with that, thanks for your time. Subscribe if you haven't. Have yourself a wonderful day. Bye.